curls. The truth curls.
Hi everyone. Well, a lot of people have been asking me to do a report on what's going on Wall Street. First of all, if you don't already know this, you can see the live stream of what's going on Wall Street at livestream.com/global revolution. And you can go to occupywallstreet-worldwide.blogspot.com to see their website. As they say, we are the 99%. And as you will see, they have support from airline pilots, postal service workers, and even some celebrities such as Susan Sarandon. They also now have a lot of support from some very big unions, such as the New York Transit Workers Union. And on September 29th, the protesters, who last I heard numbered as many as 25,000, had come up with a list of grievances. So here's some examples of their grievances. They have taken our houses through an illegal foreclosure process despite not having the original mortgage. They have taken bailouts from taxpayers with impunity and continue to give CEOs exorbitant bonuses. They have consistently outsourced labor and used that outsourcing as leverage to cut workers' health care and pay. They have influenced the courts to achieve the same rights as people and none of the culpability or responsibility. They have perpetuated colonialism at home and abroad. They have participated in the torture and murder of innocent civilians overseas. They continue to create weapons of mass destruction in order to receive government contracts. The they that they refer to here, with a capital T, as I understand it, is corporations, the corporate forces, these multinational conglomerates that basically do all these things that they say they do. And now also run the government of the US and Canada and most other countries. So this is really amazing because they've been coming up against the New World Order police force, who was caught on camera doing things like, as we all heard of, Sergeant Bologna pepper spraying those innocent young girls who just happened to be standing by, and beating up and handcuffing people with cameras and other things like that. And here's one example of how the press dealt with this. This was sent to me in an email by a friend. On the left is the original article as it was originally posted at 6:59 p.m. October 1st, and on the right is the edited article at 7:10 p.m. on October 1st. On the left it says, protesters arrested on Brooklyn Bridge. After allowing them onto the bridge, the police cut off and arrested dozens of Occupy Wall Street demonstrators. On the right, it says hundreds arrested on Brooklyn Bridge. In a tense showdown over the East River, police arrested hundreds of Occupy Wall Street demonstrators after they marched onto the bridge's Brooklyn-bound roadway. So it makes it sound like the protesters were doing something wrong and the police were right to arrest them. But originally, as you see, that the police had let them onto the bridge. Largely, the media has been giving this no attention, and this is obviously a strategic move because, as they say, even bad publicity is better than no publicity at all. And I imagine that, you know, the people who make these decisions are sitting somewhere in their boardrooms or wherever they sit and decide these things and thinking, well, you know, if we try to just make them look bad in the media, all those people out there who would like to go down there and protest would probably do that. So we're just gonna have a bigger protest on our hands. So let's just try to keep really quiet about it. But as you can see, it didn't work. Even with the changes they've made to social media recently, such as, you know, the new Facebook thing that somehow sees to it that you don't get the feeds and, you know, the messages, what the status updates from your friends and the groups that you've joined and things like that. Even with all that, even with the censorship on YouTube and everywhere else, the word's still getting out and still gaining momentum. And as I mentioned earlier, this has been going on for a couple weeks now, and we've seen a lot of police brutality footage on YouTube with the protesters chanting things like shame and the whole world is watching, which it is. But from what I hear now, the police brutality has kind of simmered down, maybe because they're being filmed. But you gotta kind of wonder, the police, they're supposed to be there to serve and protect. Last I heard that was their motto. And it is America, it's supposed to be a democracy, it's supposed to have freedom of speech, right to peacefully assemble and, you know, protest peacefully. So what's the problem? Why were they being so brutal? And then I found this. Sorry about the blue screen. This is from J.P. Morgan Chase and Company, New York Police Foundation, New York. Aha! Look what it says here. J.P. Morgan Chase recently donated an unprecedented $4.6 million to the New York City Police Foundation. The gift was the largest in the history of the foundation and will enable the New York City Police Department to strengthen security in the Big Apple. The money will pay for 1,000 new patrol car laptops, as well as security monitoring software in the New York Police Department's main data center. So there you go. That's why they're so loyal to the Wall Street people, is because they got bribed by them. So in any case, Wall Street is still going strong, and this has spread to other countries, including now Montreal. Look, we have our own Facebook group just for Montrealers, Occupy Montreal, Occupons Montréal. So they're getting organized here in Montreal too. They occupied the Montreal Stock Exchange, and 15th of October they're getting together to do something again. So if you're in Montreal and you're interested in getting involved in this, you can go to facebook.com/Occupy Montreal. Well, one thing I think that we could all agree on is that this is very groovy. Having a big protest like this, it's groovy. I can't really think of a better word for it. Very, groovy in a 60s kind of way. People coming together from different races and backgrounds and causes and creeds and religions coming together and saying, we are one and we're the 99% and we've had enough. Okay, but other than the fact that it's groovy in a 60s kind of way, and that it shows that, consciousness is changing. What I'm worried about is that, it's taken at least a couple hundred years for the powers that be, they with the capital T, to set up this kind of dumbed down New World Order corporatocracy police state that they have going now, which they consider to be a very good deal for them. So they're not about to let that go. They're not about to be like, oh wow, look, there's 25,000 people protesting and they have a list of grievances. So let's just scrap the system and start all over again. Let's just give them what they want, because obviously they really want it. We don't have to overthrow the government, we'll just overhaul it. See, that's what I think is not going to happen. Because they're evil, they serve the devil, so they're not going to do anything nice. Either they're going to use this as an opportunity to do martial law, or they're just going to wait for it to peter out, which is maybe what they're doing, trying to give it no attention in the media and hope that it just goes away. Or they might not have martial law, but they might change the laws and bring in some new laws to turn you into an instant terrorist if you protest. Or they could just subvert the whole movement, which is something they do a lot, and which is what they did in the Middle East, and just kind of take control of it and screw it up. Meanwhile, do something with the government that gives the illusion of change. Pass a couple of laws, get rid of a few unpopular people in the government, give the people the impression that real change has taken place when all it is really is the illusion of change. The illusion of change might really give people back their comfort feeling and bring them back to a state of inertia and complacency, while meanwhile, you could end up with a situation like communist Russia. Would that really solve the problem? No, I don't think so. But when communist Russia was being set up, the people were demanding it. I'm not trying to be cynical here. I think it's really good that people are coming together like this and saying we're one, and it really shows that the consciousness is changing. But man, your government and our government too, they're so evil that how can you go to them and ask them for change? And I'm not advocating violent revolution. That would just be kind of playing into their hands. I'm sure they'd love to find some excuse to bring out all their military toys and assault the people with them. Maybe what would help would be if all those unions who are offering their support would put pressure tactics by, striking and paralyzing the transit system or the mail. That might help. Or maybe if enough people just stop paying their taxes, you could just starve the beast. Because the government and the Wall Street beast run on our taxes. And I feel like a bit of a hypocrite saying this because I pay my taxes, but I can see the point of the people who say, stop paying your taxes. Because it's your tax money that's bailing out Wall Street and paying for the war and all that other garbage. And if you really don't want to be slaves, I guess you can always, renounce your social security number and stop registering your children for their birth certificates. Sometimes I think that we're never going to go back to, some kind of idyllic, peaceful situation. This octopus is too big. It's got its tentacles on everything. And in a way, things are only going to get worse. But it's like a birth. It's like a spiritual or consciousness rebirth. So it's coming to a climax. And we're going to go through this. And something good will come out of it. But I think that we have a lot of troubled times ahead still. But for now, things are pretty groovy on Wall Street, and I just hope it stays that way and that we don't have police brutality and martial law or any of the other stuff. And, well, I wish them all the best, and I hope that this brings about some kind of meaningful change. So what do you think? Am I being cynical here? That's not my question. My question actually is, yeah, am I being cynical? But do you think that this is going to bring about true change, or do you think at best we'll get the illusion of change? So thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.